My last video was about the best overall Prebuilt gaming PCs for the month of September 2022. Now it's time to make a list about the best budget Prebuilt PCs for the month of September, and remember, new components are coming, new CPUs and new GPUs, so if you wanna wait or not, it's up to you, but today I will bring you the best PCs in terms of price to performance on a tight budget by the time that I'm recording this video, which is September 2nd, 2022. Without further ado, let's start. But before starting, I wanna say that if your budget is under 610 bucks, I do recommend you going with an Xbox Series S, connected to a monitor with a mouse and keyboard, and you're going to get a much better performance than a Prebuilt gaming PC for under 600 bucks. And it's crazy that for 288 bucks you can even play with a 1440p monitor, so that's my recommendation for any budget below 600 bucks. So with the first Prebuilt PC, we have the HP Pavilion gaming desktop from Amazon. This one is 610 bucks and it comes with the GTX 1650 Super and the i3 10100. You get 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of SSD. Now this PC won't get you a great performance when you play AAA titles, but if you want to play games like League of Legends, Valorant, CSGO and all of these type of games for 610 bucks, this PC will be a good choice. And the 1650 Super is still really solid for those type of games. But if your main goal is going for 1440p or you want to play games like Red Dead Redemption 2, ultra settings, 60 FPS on average, this one won't get you there, but for the price that you're paying, you're getting a really good performance for your first PC. With the next one, we have the Asus ROG Strix GL10 gaming desktop for 689 bucks, so around 80 bucks more expensive than the last one. You're getting the Ryzen 5 3600X, which is much better than the i3 10100, and then you're getting the GeForce GTX 1660 Ti, which is once again much better than the 1650 Super, but then you get 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of SSD. Now I do recommend you upgrading the RAM as soon as possible if you have the budget to, mainly because this PC only comes with one stick of 8 gigs, which is going to hurt your performance. So if you can upgrade it, do it. If you can't, don't worry, this is an upgrade that you can make down the line. Then you get a terabyte of hard drive, so you get way more storage and way better hardware than the last one. For a price difference that's actually reasonable for the different components that you get. The GTX 1660 Ti, on the other hand, is going to be able to handle AAA titles at 1080p without any issues. The Ryzen 5 3600X, it's one generation older and it's going to become 2 generations older at this point, but it's still really solid for gaming. You won't have any issues for 1080p at this price point. However, if you upgrade to 16 gigs of RAM, you will get a huge boost on your FPS, but not only on your FPS, also while multitasking and streaming, so that's something to consider if you're getting this PC. If you want to see how these PCs perform, I do recommend you searching on YouTube the benchmarks for, let's say, the GTX 1660 Ti and the Ryzen 5 3600X. Just make sure that if it has 8 gigs of RAM, you search 8 gigs of RAM as well on those benchmarks, because it is going to make a difference between 16 gigs and 8 gigs like I just mentioned. With the next one, we have another Pavilion. This time it's a much better option because you get the RTX 3060 and the i5 10400F, all of these for the price of 890 bucks. Yes, you get the i5 10400F, but it's still really capable of gaming at 1080p. It's a 6-core 12 threads processor, so even for streaming and other tasks, it's going to get the job done. Don't worry about it, it's a nice CPU. And then you get 16 gigs of RAM at 3200 MHz, 500 gigs of SSD and 1 TB of hard drive. So in this case, you don't have to upgrade anything. This is a plug and play gaming PC, so if you don't want to have to upgrade this PC over time, you don't want to open the PC at all, this one is the right one for you. And on top of that, you get the RTX 3060, so you can do ray tracing and you have other technologies like DLSS. So for 1080p gaming, even AAA titles, ultra settings, you won't have any issues with this one. And if you want to play esports titles, you can get a 240Hz monitor to achieve the highest frame rates and play competitively. So that's something really good for the price of 890 bucks. Now at number one, I will give you two options because it depends on your needs which one is going to be better for you. First, I'm going to mention the Victus 15L. This one has the Ryzen 7 5700G, a great processor for both gaming and multitasking. Then you get 16 gigs of RAM, 500 gigs of SSD, a terabyte of hard drive, and most importantly the RX 6600 XT. So if we compare it with the last one, the 6600 XT is better than the 3060 for gaming, and then you get a Ryzen 7 with 8 cores and 16 threads, so it is going to be better for other tasks like streaming, especially because AMD it's usually better for streaming than Intel. And on top of that, I have a 5% coupon code that I will leave down below in the description with all of these PCs, so the total price will be around $980. That means that for under $1,000 you can get a gaming PC that's top of the line for 1080p, and you can also do some entry level of 1440p, so feel free to get a 1440p monitor. However, if you want to achieve the highest frame rates and you want a high refresh rate monitor, stay with 1080p, but for $980 it's really to beat the performance of this PC. But I'm sharing the top one with a $1,000 Shadow 3.0 Skytech PC. This one has the RX 6600, so it's going to be slower for gaming, and you get the i5-10400F, which is a great CPU once again, but it is going to be slower than the Ryzen 7 5700G for every task. And you may wondering, why are you recommending this if it's more expensive and it will give you less performance? Well, the Victus is not really upgradable down the line. You can upgrade things like the RAM, storage and this stuff, but if you wanna upgrade the GPU to a high-end GPU, you will need to upgrade the motherboard, power supply and case, where on the Skytech one you can basically change anything inside the PC. So if you're the type of person that wants to upgrade down the line, I recommend you going with the Shadow 3.0, even though you're getting less performance. For 1080p is still a great choice, but if you want to just plug and play, you don't want to touch the PC at all, then the Victus 15L is going to be the better choice, because you are getting better performance for less price. So at the end, it depends on the type of person that you are. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe, but most importantly hit that bell button so you get notified when I upload this type of content. And there is going to be some new content coming soon, so keep that in mind, stay tuned, because it will be really interesting. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.